Hey, it's MK, and I am here with the 31 Days of Cut Files with MK and Janet. And today we are starting, well, not today, I'm a bit behind, but we are starting the week of Stack It Up, which means that all of these elements within our cut file are going to be used on their own, but then stacked up, they're going to look really awesome too. So I have pulled out a couple elements. I don't know if I'm going to use anything from this one here, which I believe is the Nature Study by 49 and Market. But the first pack was actually the Crafty Garden florals or greenery, and I'm going to use at least the cut-aparts from that one. And then I have a mix-up here of the Nature Studies as well. I've got a little strip of Simple Stories left over, and then I thought I pulled out this packaging for just the packaging and not the washi stickers, but I don't know if I'm going to end up using it or not. I just pulled it out. I also have this, but I don't know if I want to use this mustardy color or the blue color, so I pulled out both of them. They're all from the same pack from Nature Study. Also from Simple Stories, I have this cutout, and then from Paper Rose, I have this branding strip. From Scraptastic by Caitlin Schaefer, I think this collection was by Caitlin Schaefer. I pulled out these tiny word stickers, and then this is the cut file. So it's a stacked up title, and it comes with this set of trees, a cool oval frame, and then the words outside my window that are matted. So that way you've got the skinny version and then the thicker version. The thicker version really can't be read without the skinny version, but you don't need to double mat it if you don't want to. So I share in the video that where I think I share with the like the release of all of these, like when we were show and telling all of them, that they all stack together and make this cool little framed title. But for today, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to use them in two different areas. So I've got tons of pictures. I think I've got, I don't remember, 13 pictures. And then these two papers here, they are from Celebrate, and then they are the similar collection to the 49 and Market, but this one is Chasing Adventures, and I want to say that it came out last year. I don't remember. It was just brought to my attention this year, so I'm not really sure, and I couldn't find a year on it. And then I also had, excuse me, some rub-ons, and I believe they were from the 49 and Market Anywhere collection. I think that's where they were from. I do apologize if I was wrong. So I'm going to pull out my watercolors because that's what we've been playing with all week or all month long. And I have to tell you guys that I love my watercolors. I could use watercolors on everything. These aren't cut out on watercolor paper. This is just Photo Play My Color White. That's all this is. It is the equivalent that I have found too close to my heart. It's not exactly the close to my heart White Daisy that I love doing mixed media on, but it's a close relative. It holds the color very well, and it holds up to all the water very well as well. And not falling apart. Now here I do go a little bit Western on the water because I'm trying to get this to ombre out, and I do end up ripping my outside in half because I just keep trying to get it to blend the way that I want to. But if it's not watercolor, what it does is it just soaks right into the paper uber super fast, and it does not blend unless you keep it wet. And so I'm trying to blend it and mop up the water as fast as possible so I don't end up peeling my paper, getting it to make those little tiny balls of, I don't know, paper dandruff all over my paper. So I do end up, adding a lot of paint and then blobbing it up and then adding a lot of paint just so that way I don't ruin the paper as much as I'm just trying to, get it to do what I want it to do, even though it is not watercolor. I almost ripped the top of my tree off as well. So that's what I call it, a stop. Don't do that anymore. Now for my outline, or my offset, I should say, I did keep it white because I did want it to stand out. and be visible. I just really like how crisp and clean it looks. I love my beam paints, you guys. My beam paints are all natural, and so when they dry, they actually dry with a little grit on them. I don't know why. I just absolutely love them. They feel fabulous when they dry, and it's just so outdoorsy. It really is. But they are all naturally made. I believe Janet and I looked this up, but I don't remember where they are made from. But anyways, yeah, it was just super cool. And I just love the texture when they are dry. So anyways, I've got a ton of these pictures that I took on our way up to Washington. Some of them are the cloud formations. Some of them are just tree clusters. And then I have a picture. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And it's just going along the road and my girlfriend sharing with me, the look at this, look at that, and the greenery, right? Now, my pictures aren't very green. The one side, the left side, is during sunrise. And then, of course, the right side is during the day. But, of course, it's during the day I can't remember if we were in Washington or Oregon at this point, but it's during the day, and both of those states are, I don't want to say muggy, but they're not, they are sunshiny sometimes, but not all the time. And so I love the color of my photos because of that overcast or I don't know what it's called that lasts in there because I don't want it to seem like it's dingy. It's not at all. It's a beautiful country. They both are beautiful, beautiful states, but it's just a different. It's a totally different sunshine over there. It really is. But I did enjoy the sunrise on all of my pictures that I got. I got a ton of sunrise pictures. Okay, so I have all of my landscape photos down at the bottom. They're going to flank the bottom of my layout. And then I have these two vertical pictures that, it's so weird. I don't ever remember to flip my camera. Especially when I'm doing writing in the car, because then I get the frame of the car. And I didn't really want that. But you can see the reflection of the car through some of these pictures. So you could tell that I am taking a picture through the window of a car, but you can also tell that I didn't want to get the frame. Like I have it in some views. I have the mirror in some of them as well. But when I go vertical, it definitely seems that I get it a lot more than when I'm doing horizontal. So that's why I have mostly horizontal pictures in my camera reel. Sorry, I had like, what was I saying? But then I remember every now and then to go vertical, but it's not very often. So I thought I would call an attention to my vertical pictures and have them go at the top. And then I'm going to fill this gap in with my title. So that way it looks like it's just a flow of pictures. And then I will build up on my other two pictures. Now, my first thought, because I thought for some reason I had 14 photos. I must have removed one or counted a different photo as part of, this photo set. But I thought I was going to do 2 vertical on this side, and then I thought I had another horizontal to put on the other side. But at this point, I only had the 2, so I'm going to split the 2 up. So that way I've got 2 vertical photos on both sides. And then I'm going to fill in the gaps with all of the other elements that I brought in, like the cutout from the simple stories, and then, of course, the rub-ons. The rub-ons are definitely going to help me fill that gap. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down all of my pictures. I'm not going to mat them, but I did leave the white photo border around just to bring in some more of that white that I brought in with the outline from the title. So I'm going to do that as well. And I'm going to use the oval frame and my tree cluster on the opposite side. So I'm going to use it on the left, and I'm going to use the title over on the right. And I am going to try to leave the tree cluster. So as you can see, the tree cluster kind of bends around the oval frame because it's supposed to look like that's what it's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to go around the oval frame, and then the outside my window was supposed to go on top in the oval frame. So it was just all supposed to be one really pretty title to play with and take up a lot of space, one or two pictures on a layout, depending on your scrapbooking style. And it was supposed to be an easy layout. And I say supposed to be because, I have it set that I don't like easy. And so, this is what I ended up doing. Plus the fact that I have a ton of pictures, you guys. Lately I have scrapbooked all of my single photos, all of my double, the pictures that I have two of, not two exact pictures, but you know what I mean, like an event or something that I want to scrapbook, but I only have two pictures. And so what I'm leaving myself with is all of these other pictures. And normally I probably would have put all of these pictures in a pocket page and just did a really quick pocket page, a few embellishments here and there, calling out what it is, and then insert it into, do this one front and back, right? Because it would have been one pocket page as opposed to a 2-page layout, and then inserted it in between a 2-page layout of my trip to Washington. But I decided that I really like doing this, I don't want to say overcrowded layout or layouts, but I've really been enjoying seeing how many photos I can get on a double page layout. And this month has definitely shown that I love a lot of pictures, for one, and I really don't like to decide which pictures don't go in my album. That's why I like pocket pages, because I can pick them all, and I don't have to worry about them taking up a lot of space in my albums. But here it's also showing that on a 2-page layout, I can get almost every single photo that I wanted to save as well. And I say almost because, like I said, somewhere in my brain, I counted the right photo. I really did. I promise. I counted an extra horizontal photo, and I don't know where it went. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just start building this page up. I love this little cluster that I cut out of one of the Simple Stories Essentials papers, because now it looks like I've layered a bunch of elements down to stack up underneath my photo. And then I'm going to have my frame and then my trees. And I brought in that other, I want to say almost a lime green rub-on, so that way I can offset the trees and I still have that color on both sides. So it looks like it was intentional, because I really didn't do any mixing of the beam paints to get a darker green that matched my photos very well. I really wanted that green to stand out, so that way my photos stood out. If I matchy-matchied the color with my photos, then it would just blend in with my photos, and then that's when you get that I can't tell the difference between pictures and layout, right? And you really want your pictures to stand out. You really want your pictures to be the star of the show. And so if everything starts matchy-matchying, then your pictures get lost. So yes, this is definitely one of those ways, is to not color match your trees with your elements, the trees in the pictures with the trees in your elements, in order for your photos to now stand out. So with that being said, I did end up taking one of these borders. I think it just says something about an adventure, which is kind of fun. But I did take one of those and add it as kind of like a subtitle, or a mostly like journaling. Because honestly, I don't really know what to journal about. These were just gorgeous pictures on a route that seemed familiar to me when we were going up to Washington, because we were kind of going up to the same space, but we didn't go as far north as I'm used to, or maybe it's south. Ooh, I think it's south, because one of them is in Oregon and one of them is in Washington. So we didn't go that far. We went up to northern Washington more, I want to say, yes. And so also too, I took some of my green rub-on and I filled in the gap I didn't realize that I probably didn't need to do this step because my title takes up a lot of that gap, but I also wanted a peace of mind that I didn't just, slap a couple layers down and my layout wasn't, it was blank behind all of that. So I wanted to put in a couple rub-ons. Not that I'm going to miss those rub-ons, but I ended up doing that. I wanted to add this second piece that was from the branding strip, but that didn't work at all because I just couldn't get it to lay where some of the words weren't covered up. But that's fine because then I felt like it took away from the title anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and just layer up a couple things. I think I'm going to find another tiny little word that's going to cover up these words on this other cut apart or cut out, I should say, from 49 and Market. But I'm going to put it upside down so I can keep the flowers, and I'm going to offset it. So I'm only going to try to cover up the words. And then that way I don't end up having to worry about, trying to cover up the whole thing. So I really like how that looks. And the flowers wrap around this saying really well, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and slap that on there. And then last but not least, see, I'm still deciding, do I need this? I don't know. But last but not least, I think I'm really happy with how this looks. And I really feel like I didn't do anything at all. But I do have a gap between my green elements my green rub-ons that I really don't like. So I'm going to try to remedy that with this little film strip. And so it fits in perfect. I love it. And that's all it needed. I just needed to fill that gap just ever so tiny. I did bring in the inner bit, like the negative of that gap, and brought it over to the other side. That way I had that same color on both sides. Again, just trying to balance out the layouts. And then I'm going to add this little butterfly that is from the cutouts as well from that Crafty Garden. And I think that I'm going to call this good. I think that I'm pretty happy with how my layout looks. So that is what I did with my outside my window frame or title that I had. I am super stoked with it. I absolutely love it. And this is one, if you do purchase the digital, that you can take those trees and you can constantly cut them out. And you've just got this awesome tree cluster for any outdoor layout that you want. And then, of course, you could always use the word outside or the word window anytime that you guys want. And make these elements work for you, right? You don't always have to use this entire cut file as a whole if you bought the digital set. All right, you guys, so that is my layout for today. I have loads of close-up pictures just because I felt like there was a lot to share here. I really do. Please don't forget to check out Janet Fritz's channel. She is my partner in crime when it comes to pretty much everything YouTube, you guys. We have been partners for several years in all of the crafty adventures that we do, whether it's teaching classes or, doing classes outside in real life or online, all those things. So yes, please go check out Janet Fritz's channel, who is Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube. Also, don't forget to check out 31 Days of Cut Files playlist, because there you'll find other YouTubers joining us this month and playing along with either their cut files or the same exact cut files. And we've got the Facebook group links down below as well, my group as well as Janet's group. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. And I will check you guys all later. Bye.